Hey, what's up, guys? Haven't made a video in a while. I made one the other day. Been doing really good, in terms of my mental health. Working out a lot, like a lot. Running a lot, a lot of running. Feels great. My diet change, everything's just going good, on that end. Tonight's video, I wanted to do a video on a couple or a few tips on maintaining your tolerance, taking benzodiazepines. Um, because this is a big the issue is everywhere, and the benzo world is just very overwhelming. You know, the groups and a lot of them are very extreme cases. You got to understand, guys. It doesn't mean it's going to be your story, and I'll tell you why real quick. I'm just one example. The first time I came off of alprazolam, I mean the first ever time. This was way back when I was probably like 19, about 19. My buddy, my best friend, he used to do back then. He was, before pressed pills were coming out and stuff. These were real straight alprazolam bars, and I mean, these are when they were out. Like, you can get them anywhere, script whenever you want. But I was taking like a bar and a half a day or something for like, I don't know, a couple months, just to have fun with them. I honestly, like, me and him were just chilling, smoking a little weed and like shit like that. Like, he's my bro since we were like 5 years old. He stopped way back then. He hasn't done anything since. But the withdrawal from that was like, it was weird because I didn't know about withdrawal back then. I didn't know. So, but I did have symptoms. Now the symptoms I had were back pain, some slight stomach cramping, and diarrhea ish, sort of. If I ate rice or something, bananas, I wouldn't come out diarrhea. I mean, this was like every day he was bringing them over, and we were popping them like it was no one's business, and I was like so relaxed. And but yeah, slight back pain, because your adrenal glands sit on top of your kidneys. So if it's pumping out cortisol, it gives you back. Same with opiate withdrawal, gives you that back pain I told you guys about in my past videos. So I had that, and some, you know, a little sweating, but I had no anxiety, no rebound anxiety, nothing. But I had no idea what withdrawal was. You know what I mean? These groups weren't existing at that in those years. There was no, support groups like there are now. You know what I mean? So there was no fear mongering either. You know what I mean? And some of the people in the group, they're genuinely, genuine people, and then a lot of them are also not. And if you don't have the same symptoms they do, or you have a positive story, where you had minimal discomfort, your taper went great. You know what I mean? It's like, get the fuck out of here, get the fuck off this group. You're lying, or you've never been on a benzo. It's like, you don't tell these people that. But those were the symptoms I had. You know what I mean? My mom, 32 years, 1 milligram alprazolam, stopped cold turkey, and she took it every night. She might have missed a couple nights. Her script was delayed, but she didn't even have withdrawal symptoms in between. Nothing. I think the part of the reason of that is that when you take them to go to bed, most of it in the beginning is placebo. Like, it's a placebo effect. Like, you took it, so you get tired immediately and you go to sleep. But you don't feel the effects while you're sleeping, so your brain doesn't associate the effects of the medication with, you know what I mean, with your conscious awake reality. It's different. You're sleeping through it, so you don't even notice. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of those people that take it just for sleep tend to get off a lot easier than people taking them all throughout the day. And anyway, back to the point. One tip to maintain your tolerance. So let's say you just started, your doctor prescribed you valprazolam. Let's choose an extreme one with the shortest half life. Um, you know, it's working for a good week or two, and then you realize it's not. And also, guys, depends on what you have in your stomach. If you have no food in your stomach, you're gonna feel it a lot more potent than if it was vice versa. So that might make you think your tolerance is higher, but that's not always the case. But anyway, if your tolerance does grow a little bit, and let's say you're on, uh, you know, zero point 0.5, and you end up saying, I got to jump to 1 milligram, hold on there. Now, some people might give me crap for this, but you guys know I don't take it personally. I don't care. Um, Stay at that dose, even though it's not working. Even ask your doctor if they can prescribe you a beta blocker, propranolol or clonidine, something just to lower your blood pressure while you're taking those doses, so it balances out, and then that dose will feel the same. You know what I mean? But on the kick side, on the good side, is that your tolerance is also going down more. Now, it's not going to be the interdose withdrawal at zero point 0.5. It's not going to be that crazy. You know what I mean? Especially with the beta blocker involved, you're going to basically feel perfectly normal, maybe even calmer. Your heart rate's lower, your anxiety's decently controlled. You know what I mean? You do that for a good week, sometimes less, depending on the heavier you are, or whatever, or your metabolic rate. But eventually, one night take it without the beta blocker, and you're good, working again. And when that happens, your best idea is to drop down to then 0.25 at that point. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to be that crazy going from that to that. You know what I mean? Unless you've been on them for so many years, and you know what I mean, you've been tapering from the highest milligram. Now you're finally at 0.5, and then it might be a little harder. But yeah, you know what I mean. If you do that, get a beta blocker, have them stashed away in case that happens. You know what I mean. You can drop your tolerance easily with minimal pain, dude. I mean, I've done it before. I've done that before. When I was when I was taking alprazolam once, I remember, and I didn't have any withdrawals this time, but I was taking them for maybe a month and a half or so, like every night. I was taking about 1 milligram or so, maybe 1.5. But I remember that happening to me, and I had beta blockers because of my hyperthyroidism. I got a few bottles of them back there, and I was like, shit, I feel like it's not working. My heart rate's a little higher. I'm not too anxious, but my heart rate's a little up, which was a symbol of a little bit of withdrawal. Leads to sweating. You take a beta blocker. I took a beta blocker, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. The half-life's so short. I'm just gonna take the beta blocker and and this does work for higher doses too. But I took the beta blocker, and I took sorry, I'm watching Angels in the Outfield, free on YouTube, by the way. And yeah, freaking that, 1.5 milligrams. I took a 0.5. I went all the way down to a 0.5 from that, and I had slight symptoms, but that beta blocker took all the other symptoms away. I mean, it even stopped the crazy intrusive thoughts. The depression was even way less, because I wasn't in fight or flight mode. No back pain, that went away because my adrenaline slowed down. My cortisol stopped shooting, so I dry too. I was completely dry. I didn't have sweaty feet, nothing. I was like, oh wow, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And there's no dopaminergic properties to it, like opiates, or you're gonna be fiending for it. And you just I did that for I think 5 days, something like that, and I think on that fifth day, no beta blocker, and I took that 0.5, and boy, that knocked me out. I was like, whoa. And then from there, I just was like, yeah, screw it. I'm just going to taper off because I don't want to take them any longer than this at this point. I went down to 0.25 after that tolerance drop, and to be honest with you, it was no different than the 0.5. And I was like, cool. Did that for 3-4 days and just stopped, and that was it. Nothing. I don't break them into 0. Blah, 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 blah. I don't go breaking them into tiny pieces. Your cheeks, your lips, your tongue, it's going to absorb most of it. You're not going to get that full dose you think you're getting. You can do your water method or your milk method, whatever, dude. But at that point, it's in your head. You're taking that low of a dose. It's not doing anything to you. You know what I mean? It's not. So, another trick. Now, I will get shit for this, and I don't care, because me, myself, and I know 3 other people that have done this personally. I told them to do it, and they did it. They were prescribed for a while. I mean, a while, as in over 10 years, and they were up there 5 milligrams, 6 milligrams a day alprazolam. I think the other guy had like eight milligrams of Klonopin a day of clonazepam. The other one had, I think, like, he was clonazepam. No, she was clonazepam, and she was taking somewhere between 4.5 and 5 milligrams a day for a long time. And she and they tapered off. Got down, and that was it. They were done. I think it was like 2 months goes by after post taper, and well, I told them, I was like, look, you might be against this because of what all these groups are saying, and this is not considered a rescue dose, guys. So don't call this a rescue dose. What this is, if you're willing to taper for more years than you've been on the benzo, don't call this a rescue dose, because it's not a rescue dose. This is a part of the tapering process. You know how they taper you, you go all, a week at this dose, and then you drop it a little, and then you're a month at this dose, and then a month next you drop a little bit. This is like, and then they tell you, take it every other day, and then every other day, and tapering like that. Well, this is like taking it every other month, other into another month. You know what I mean? They're gone, over and done with their taper. I told them, the alprazolam guy, I told them, take a 0.25. He was like, oh, I don't want to do that. They weren't addicted to them. They didn't feel like they wanted them. They didn't want them at all. I said, just take that little 0.25. And I was like, it's going to finish your taper. It's going to mediate the post-acute symptoms, the bind, the everything, all these issues people deal with, and it's going to stabilize your brain. Opiates too, or opioids, did the same thing. I've done that in the past before too. You know what I mean? I was clean for a month, at one point a month, 2 months, and then I couldn't take it anymore. But I took like a Perc 5, literal Percocet, not a Roxaset. Don't get them twisted, but I took a Percocet 5 milligram, and yeah, I felt it. But after that, didn't want them again, and all my post-acute symptoms disappeared, because it was like, even though the way I got off was tapering off of it, the fentanyl at that point, whatever, and then I took a little opioid, a little Perc 5, and it's like my brain was like that the whole time. I'm going through these post-acute symptoms, and after that little dose, leveled out. I didn't have the post-acute symptoms anymore. It was actually very interesting. Same thing with the benzos, man. It's like GABA systems, just like this. And then, that little dose you take later on, leveled them out, all of them. The Klonopin guy and the Klonopin girl, same thing. Told them take a 0.5 and break it in half, because they had a bunch left over. Are you sure about this? I said, yeah, do it. They did it, and like one guy, I didn't hear from him for like 3 months, and then I hit him up, how are you doing? Dude, I don't know, whatever you told me, it just worked. I haven't thought about them since. My anxiety's been fine. I don't know. I said, it's because it's a part of the taper. It's a part of the taper, guys. Yes, you will be. Yay, I'm so glad I got off. I haven't taken them. Nothing. I'll never go back to that suffering again. If you take the lowest dose, or even half of the lowest dose, it's not going to destroy your mind. Your brain's not going to go haywire, dude. You guys got to chill with that. It's not going to send you back into withdrawal. I don't care. You can say all you want about, well, it's not true. And all this nonsense. It's not true. It's not going. It's just like with opioids. Your tolerance is gone. It's out of your system. A lot of it is up here. It really is. Coming from a recovering addict that has dabbled, a lot of recovering addicts coming off benzos, they don't go into these groups. They don't. They go to meetings. They might, whatever. But they're just like, I'm done abusing those. I'm done. I'll never go back. I don't feel like it. Whatever. Nah, I'm good, I feel better than I ever have, and that's great. But that fact that they can do it means a lot of you guys can. Now there are some people that do suffer though from hypersensitivity coming off of them, and that's, there's nearly 9 billion humans on Earth. You think everybody's going to be the same, but that might confuse you. You might think, well, which one am I? Well, find out for yourself. And the only way to do that is to know the basic knowledge of getting off the benzo, know the tapering system, know this, that, the third, but don't go reading other people's stories, because a lot of them in these groups are extreme. They're extreme stories. So extreme cases. Not everyone's, on the other hand, they're not all going to have extreme. My mom, me the first time with the alprazolam, you know what I mean? The bars, I mean, the cramping in the stomach, the back pain because of the cortisol, which led to the sweating, but I still slept without them. I didn't know what was going on, but with my body, but I didn't panic or freak out about it. So I was just like, then eventually, each day, passing after a certain point, they just stopped. The symptoms was, one day the stomach cramping got a little better. Next day, stomach cramping stopped. Next was the back pain and the cortisol and the sweating. That just stopped. And then it was like, well, a little depression, not that much. But yeah, my friends, they freaking, that little tiny little dose. It's like it finished the taper. Yeah, a couple months down the line for them, after not taking the benzos at all. But that little tiny dose is not a rescue dose. It's almost like a finish your taper dose. Your brain's gonna get that little taste of it. Your brain, not your mind, guys. Your mind is where holds your ego. It's what's holding your. You get what I'm saying? Your brain, your subconscious, is what's in your brain. It's what's craving it, but not in a sense of go back full time on it. It's more like, I need one more little dose. Sometimes that one more little dose can straighten you out and the post acute symptoms just go away. That's just, that's another tip. And I've had people on the internet that have done the same thing that I told my past video to do, and I get emails. It worked. It's been 6 months and I haven't had any post acute symptoms since the day I took that tiny little dose. And you know, it was like the 0.25 this one person took. They never took. They jumped off at 0.5 or 1 milligram after being on like 8 milligrams of alprazolam. But yeah, you know what I mean. It's trial and error. I mean, I've got put my body through hell for you guys too, just to help you out. After a point, I was like, you know what? I want people one day to see this, that I'm doing this with the nitrous, with the opiates, expelling from the body quicker, all that. I did a lot of that just so I could tell you guys what works and what doesn't work from my perspective, my opinion, my experience. Um, but with the benzos, my last tip is, you guys might disagree with this, stay out of the Facebook groups unless you find a good one that's not all about fear mongering and, you know, symptoms that are just like you can't eat these certain foods. You can't eat this. Oh, it's red. Um, it acts on your GABA system. Your receptors are damaged. Your brain damaged permanently. Don't read any of that crap, guys, because if you do, your brain will read it. It will interpret it as, this is me, and then it's gonna follow you. And then you're gonna wake up every day. Your forefront might not think about it anymore, but now it's in your subconscious. So now it's gonna keep rambling on behind your head, and then when you're in bed at night or when you have downtime, comes right to the front, and you won't stop thinking about it. So that's my other opinion. Just stay out of those groups. Follow Michael Prevey on YouTube. He has his it's called The Lovely Grind is his YouTube channel. All positivity. Yeah, he tells his story about his 12 years or more on alprazolam on a higher dose, and you know what I mean. He tells his story, and he did go through some stuff, but listen to his advice. But yeah, me, I'm more scientific, translated into human thought, terminology, and action. That's how I do it. I go by, you're filled with an imbalance, your serotonin levels, your norepinephrine, everything is all screwed up depending on what substance, and scientifically transfers into your negative thoughts, Depression makes you think sad, you know, negative thoughts. When you're balanced, you feel great. So yes, I would stay out of that if you can, guys. If you can, if you're finding helping, if it's helping you. But some people, if you think it's helping you, step back for a minute. Write a log in a book on your phone, whatever, in your notebook, in your notepad on your phone. Think about every day and log at the end of the day. How many times did I think about benzo withdrawal? And keep a log, like a diary, and see how many days you're actually thinking about it, because the groups you're in, you can't stop. Or how many times did I visit the group? This many times. How many times did I think about the withdrawal? This many times. How many times did I think about symptoms and blah 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 this many times? You know what I mean? Log it, so at least you can keep track of your brain, and you can tell yourself, shit, I've been obsessing. And what happens when you obsess over something? There are people out there obsessed with stuff like the movie The Matrix, and guess what? They go around wearing long black trench coats, wearing black sunglasses, and thinking they are actually a part of the Matrix. They you know, kids, they're obsessed with wrestling. Now all of a sudden they're wearing stone cold shorts and shirt and drinking water in cans. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what the brain does. It can become what it reads. And just to tell you guys, ask your doctor. You can literally, without even having ever touched a benzo, stress yourself and have so much anxiety over regular issues. You can stress yourself into a seizure. So you can be had never taken a benzo and stress yourself into a seizure. That is medically possible. Ask your doctor or psychiatrist, psychologist, neurologist. Ask any of them. But yeah. So those are just a few tips. I want to do a video on more extensive tapering, because I do have a few different methods that they're my methods. I patent them. It's not what do you call it? The Ashton method. It's none of these methods. I have my own, and I'm gonna write them down so I can not, my ADHD is pretty bad, so I hope I don't forget to talk about them in the video. I want to talk about them. That will be my next video for people. So anybody down below, write down how long you've been on whatever benzo you've been on, what dosage, when you started off, on what dosage, how long it takes you to, or has taken you to go up in a dosage. Write down specifics, but don't get too carried away, guys. You don't have to, start mentioning windows and vines. Don't, no. Just mention the simple details, and I'll read them, and I will respond to them and put them all into a video for tapering to help you guys out. So, and before I end this, there are people that do have a hard time coming off. There are people that do have intense withdrawal symptoms, and don't knock them either. And even for the people that are just over obsessing and creating their own symptoms, because yes, there are people that do that. I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sound disrespectful, but humans, they're very complex creatures, and the mind is more complex. So write down below, what you've been on, for how long you've been on them. Write down, the more simple details. I'll get in, and you can write a little bit about yourself. You know what I mean? I want to hear about yourself too. Who you are. But yeah, it's hard. You think. Sorry for the TV light on and off. You think to yourself, oh, well, if the fact that there are people out there that have hardcore symptoms, is that going to be me? Well, dude, you don't know until you try. And not only that, but you don't have to suffer. And 2 or 3, you don't have to keep obsessing. And I hate this, it's dark right now. Oh my god, will the light just come on? You don't have to obsess yourself into oblivion, because your brain. Psychosomatic is real. It's not. You guys also have to understand psychosomaticism. It is real. Uh, Mass hysteria is real. You know what I mean? You got to take those into account too. Start focusing on those things. Mass hysteria. People can see something and become that. You know, someone's sick and some doctor tells you, hey, you know, you're gonna catch this too. You're gonna throw up within the next 3 to 5 minutes. They're gonna say something like that, and guess what? You end up throwing up. You know what I mean? Those things do exist. So for the people freaking out, you know what I mean? You gotta think about those things. I don't want to say them now. I mean, like, there's just things that, like, you know what I mean, that also can take in you can take into account that will calm you down. You know what I mean? The fact that, yeah, you can become what you read, dude. Like, you are what you eat type thing. I mean, the mind gut, you know, whatever you're eating. If you're eating like shit, dude, you're mentally gonna feel like shit. Oh yeah, recovering from opiates. Trust me, I found that out the hard way. But um, yeah, that and like, you just, you know, I'm not saying calm down, but I'm saying don't read too much into stuff, guys, because you want to recover. You really want to be damaged forever. Who the fuck wants? Nobody wants to be damaged forever. Come on, you know, don't think that way. You can be miserable for the rest of your life if you want. Go ahead. Don't go ahead. I don't want my viewers to do that. Or new viewers, don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't tell yourself you're. Don't be somebody told me, or don't say somebody told me in a group, you know, that, uh, I'm permanently damaged. I'm never gonna get better. Dude, don't tell people that stuff. First of all, and second of all, the people that have been told this stuff, don't listen to that. Seriously, neuroplasticity is very real. You're not gonna be damaged forever, dude. And your GABA system, excitement and anxiety. Anxiety is the same energy used for excitement and happiness and get the going. Cortisol too. You get hyped up and start sweating because you're so excited, and like a kid on Christmas, or whatever. Then there's the other hand of anxiety, which is more panicking and negative thoughts and depression. But it's the same energy. It's the same part of the brain lights up. So if who's telling you your GABA your GABA system is permanently broken? If who's solidifying that the broken GABA system means you're going to be anxious, depressed, and all of the negative things that are coming from the same exact part of the brain, the same, you know what I mean? Like, you don't, I'm trying not to speak too much into medical terminology in this video, but same energy, you know what I mean? So you get to channel it differently. Like the first time I withdrew from alprazolam, I felt some of the physical symptoms, but none of this. I didn't feel the panicking, freaking out. So the fact that that happened with me, it can happen with a lot of you too. So, yeah, you're gonna freak out. Well, there are people that don't. There's people that don't have issues. Some people don't have withdrawal at all. Same from alcohol. They might be the same genetic breed. You know what I mean? It, Trust me, guys. Just ask your doctors. There are people. Doctors have seen people just stop after years of taking them. They just stop and don't come back. So, I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying the facts that these, are facts. The fact that these are facts should help you calm down a little bit. So, yeah. Anyway, write down who you are below, what you're dealing with, what I said before. And I'll look at what you guys write, and I'll compile a bunch of different bits of information in my next video, because I want to focus on the benzos right now, because I really see people struggling. See a lot of you guys in these groups, even the ones that are over obsessing over things that you shouldn't. You guys are really smart too. Like, you're intelligent. If your brain's firing that quick and you're intaking all of this information that you're reading, medical information, whether that person is actually suffering from those symptoms or not, the fact that you're intaking that and learning, be proud of yourself, because some people, it takes 8 to 10 years of medical school to get to that point. Think about that. Pharmacokinetics, biology, etc. You know, neurology. I mean, you guys are learning a lot of this stuff. That's a plus, man. That's a little victory. Don't start talking about windows and bind. And when I see people say stuff like that, like in comments, like, well, I'm in a the bind, and my windows were this exact time for this exact time. I honestly cringe, and I kind of get annoyed. That's just me. That's just how I react to it. I just roll. I roll my eyes. I'm like, oh, I'm on. Um, Even Coach Powers said it in his, one of his videos about benzo myths. Like he's right, dude. Like there are people that go to rehabs, like I've been to, with roommates with benzo addicts, and that are detoxing. They're taking like amounts, like 30 milligrams or more, and were put on like the lowest Librium taper or Ativan bridge or nothing at all, and just anti-epileptics, and they got through it, and within 3 weeks they're eating full meals, they're feeling better than they ever have. 3 months later they're still doing great. You know what I mean? If they can recover like that, a lot of you guys can too. Not everybody. It's going to be a little tougher for some, but the fact that it can happen, put that in your brain and let your brain do the work from there. Do not obsess. Limit the time you go into those groups, because when you do, you can't stop reading, scrolling. A lot of you guys also subconsciously know that you're doing too much, and your ego's not going to let you say it. You know what I mean? That's fine. That's who you are. It's whatever. We're all not perfect. I could be an asshole sometimes. But when I'm talking to my viewers and I say certain things that piss them off, I don't mean to do it. I just care about you guys a lot. So I just want you to know that, and take it easy. And also the beta blocker thing with lowering your dosage works great. And also, like, I took gabapentin when I was coming, off of tapering down off of a benzo. I took some gabapentin here and did it. And guess what? I'm fine. And to this day, I'm fine. You know what I'm saying? I'm not suffering from post-acute symptoms. I'm not. And I've gone through extreme benzo withdrawal before, too. I've gone through that, too. So I've seen it from all the angles. Not as long as some of y'all, the 15, 20, 30 years on them, but it's not hopeless for you guys either. That same dose you took 30 years ago, the same dose you took 1 year ago, even a month ago, it's not in your body anymore. Yeah, you've been on it that long, but that same dose you took when you think I've been on it for 30 years, yes, but those doses you used to take are gone. Your body has rid of them. You get what I'm saying? You start going into tolerance withdrawal, there's ways to combat it. Just like with a beta blocker, maybe you need a little higher of a beta blocker, a higher dosage of propranolol. Maybe you need 15 milligrams or so, you know what I mean, rather than 5 or 10. It will level you out along with that tapering dose, and I'm telling you right now, you'll be okay. You will be okay. And keep hydrated. Seriously, keep pissing it out. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a godsend. But anyway, I'm rambling too much. I'm gonna go to bed. But tomorrow I would like to do this video, so please comment below what I asked you to do earlier. I don't feel like reiterating that, but yeah, stay strong. Don't obsess. You are what you read. If you read too much, and remember, a lot of them are extreme cases, which they do have every right to post their cases. But some of them can be bullies. Some of them yes, they can. They might not say screw you, you're an a-hole and you're ugly and all this nonsense, but they bully you in other ways, narcissistic, crazy ways. Anyway, don't feed into that too much. All right. See you guys tomorrow, and just take it easy, okay? Especially if you have a script. At least you have it, and at least you can taper to your own comfortability. But I want to talk about my other tapering methods for more extensive and complex situations for people So anybody down below, I don't care how long you've been on them. If you haven't taken them and you're afraid yet, you know, you've been prescribed, you haven't taken one yet because of what you read. All situations, comment below. All right, and I'll make a video tomorrow for you. All right. Good night. Try to sleep, guys. Just try.